All right, all right. Hope everybody's doing great. Dave here with Affordable Door and Gate. I am trying some new stuff, some cameras, new mics, just playing around right now. So if you come on, for one, give me a thumbs up or just let me know. Say, yeah, audio's good. I'm going to kind of check on my phone. This one's going to be a little slower than normal type of live stream. But I do want to talk today about bump stops and the leaf springs, basically what goes at the rear of a garage door, because, well, they're important, and I want you to understand why. And I tell you guys all the time, I want you to learn from my mistakes. I want you guys to be smarter, faster, better, and don't have to make all the screw ups that I did that cost you a ton of money. So it sounds like we got audio going. That's good. Okay, so on these bump stops, I believe Ron was the one. It might have been Rob. I can't look into it. I got my other phones tied up. Things are just crazy. But anyways, we're going to say Ron. Ron asked me, he said, hey, that last video I was doing, he says, why do you need bump stops on a door that's total vertical? Now, I made a little drawing here. So obviously this is like the track, right here, goes up, goes that way. And there's the bump stops, right? On a standard lift door. Well, let me tell you why. This is probably the biggest reason. The biggest reason is honestly because I had this happen once, and it's probably one of the reasons why I don't have any other videos of it or pictures, is because it happened once, and I told myself I will never let this happen again. And what it was for a commercial builder. And I remember this commercial builder, we installed a door. It wasn't a very big door. It was probably like maybe like a 10 by 10 garage door. And I remember ended up, they got construction workers, right? Big burly guys, right? 6-pack on the weekend, or maybe that's a 24-pack, 6-pack on the day nights. And they whipped that door up for some reason. Just took that garage door and went, threw it up, right? The door might have not been balanced out right. We probably didn't have power there yet. Maybe it had an opener. Maybe it didn't have an opener. But either way, they took that door and they flailed that son of a biscuit right up. And that thing shot out. We had even the bolts sticking in. It blew past the bolts, didn't shear them or anything, but it pushed them out enough. The back rollers, I think 2 or 3 sections popped out of there. And I was like, and it's one of those things. It never happens at a convenient time. I got 3, 4, 6, 20 other service calls I got to go to. I get the phone call and the closest technician to the job. And it turns into, hey, can you stop at this job? And I'm like, can they send me a picture? And they sent me a picture, and I was like, oh my gosh. And in the meanwhile, all I'm thinking is, because the problem is this is like a new addition onto another building. There's employees in there. There's secretaries in there. I mean, there's just all the above. There's like children, men working, women working, whatever, and they're freezing because now this door's stuck open and the cold winter air is coming in. And so I remember I rushed over there, and it was like, great. Now that they flung this door up, how in the heck do I get this thing back in the track? I mustered it in there, but it's one of those things that would have been a heck of a lot easier if the scissor lift was already there, like it was, to put a bump stop on there, to put up any additional things. The tools are already out. It's just one of those things when you do this for a living, you start looking at things and you're like, we're already here. It's going to take us an extra 10 minutes to do something that might just be that extra 10% that you need. I turned really blue. I don't know why. And I apologize for the blueness. Like I said, it's all new to me. But anyways, if anything, listen to it. And so the bump stops are just, I don't care if you got a full vertical door, that's like a dock door that goes totally all the way up, and it's got an opener on it. I don't even care. If it's got an opener, I do not care, because at some point in the life of that garage door, there is going to be a failure. And that door is going to have to be ran manually at some point. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm going to do this. We're going to change my color a little bit. I'm going to make a few adjustments. Make it feel a little more homey in here for you. Try some stuff out what we can. There we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I feel so much warmer already. So, vertical track, high lift track, roof pitch track, standard track, low headroom track. Uncle Dave doesn't care. He does not care. He cares that if it's a commercial door, commercial, you don't have to do it on the resis. The resis are a little more, they're a little nicer to their stuff, let's just say. But the commercial, bump stops. I mean, there is a certain time that I won't use bump stops, and that's because it's just, there's not enough track on the end, or there's just a situation, a beam in the back. I don't know. Clearances, but if there's a beam in the back, typically the beam's going to stop the door. I've had that happen. But normally I'm always putting bump stops on there, because with those bump stops, it takes a heck of a lot of force, especially if you got your drops correct. You got your kickers good. You got good bolts and everything. It takes a heck of a lot of force to bust through those bumpers. Now, with that being said, let's make sure I don't have my headset. So, all right, with those bumpers, just for your information, for you young bucks out there, even some of the seasoned guys maybe, if there's older bumpers out there, it's just something to keep in mind that you might want to consider replacing them. Maybe not. We had a big company here in town at one time, and I remember they ended up, one broke, a bump stop broke. And this is one of those companies that anytime there's anytime there's a problem, we have to find a solution. Somebody cuts their arm off, we need to put a cage around it. Not saying it's bad, but sometimes things can be just a little silly, it seems like. But it's for the better. It's for safety. It's all good, right? Well, I remember this bracket, this leaf spring, it must have got banged on a lot, right? It's a dock door. They're flailing this thing up. Well, that darn thing broke off, and it hit somebody right in the head, hit them pretty good. I don't think it killed them or anything, but it was a trip to the hospital, maybe a stitch or something, not fun. So we ended up having to go through this company, and we had to change all the bump stops. I mean, we're talking like 200 plus doors through different locations. And we had to go through and change all those bump stops. So the new bump stops obviously have the safety in it, the rubber piece now, the plastic. So if they break, they should still stay intact instead of falling on somebody's head. So just something to consider. That's all I'm trying to say. But I wanted to jump on here. I wanted to test it out, see what's going on. I'm trying to get camera adjusted here, trying to get this mug to look a little better. Just a little. It ain't working too good. But and obviously everybody's out having a good time, because nobody's on the old interweb at this time, right? Everybody's out doing whatever they do. I don't know what you guys do. What do you guys do? Do you guys work? You guys partying? Drinking? Playing video games? I don't know what most men do these days. I'm trying to check though. Let me check this mic again while I'm on here. It's gonna be a little echo here. I know what most men do these days. I'm trying to check though. There we go. I was having problems with this mic earlier, so I jumped on here just to test out the mic. And like I said, I wish the camera, it looks a little grainy to me. I wish it was a little more better, but it's definitely better than the other one I had. That's for sure. So, but yeah, so the bump stops, like I said, Ron asked me, he's like, hey man, why you got bump stops on there? Or why do you do it on like just standard lift door? That's why, because I've had too many people blow them through the back tracks. I mean, I really have. When it comes to the Justin, Mr. Justin, hey, still working. Good for you, man. That's awesome. Got to keep hustling, man. I'm glad somebody's out there keeping the lights on. My goodness. Food isn't getting any cheaper, that's for sure. It's getting expensive out there. Everything is try to feed the family is expensive. But yeah, when I when I first started doing the garage doors, I don't want to say, I guess in a nutshell, I took shortcuts. You know what I mean? Like I didn't do them deliberately. Like it wasn't, you just don't know these things until you're years into the business. You know what I mean? So I still, it was just something I didn't think about. Bump stops cost extra. I don't think it was really a cost. It was just, I'd forget to add them on. You know what I mean? And now, at least one, if not two, both secretaries are wonderful and they know just to get that to come. That's just an automatic. It's an automatic. It's going to be on there. They're going to be part of it. They should be. They sometimes forget, or the vendor sometimes doesn't, send them or whatever, but it's just always programmed in all the guys, including myself. It's like, got to put bump stops on. Oh man, it's going to take an extra 10, 20 minutes, whatever, a drill bit, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, when you're sitting there and you're on a scissor lift and your tool bag's sitting right next to you and you got the power tools out and everything's there, you own the space. It's just so much more worth it just to go for it and do it. And if you keep them on the truck, that's awesome too. Mr. SOS is in the house. Good to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. You're the video guy, Mr. SOS. If you don't, you guys should always check him out. He's a great dude. He's very smart when it comes to this stuff. When it comes to the video, and like I said, on my end it looks grainy, but he's the camera guy. I better say it because I know he's going to ask me. What is this one? I don't have the box in front of me. I think it's the face. It's something. I don't know. It's a Pro. Darn, I have to put it. You can always message me, my friend. So, anyways, we're talking about these bump stops on commercial doors, and the reason why Uncle Dave uses them, because, like I said, all it took was that one builder. He threw them through the back of the track that one time, and that phone call, and I just said, you know what, I'm not dealing with this again. Where they go ripping through there, and I've seen guys, when you go through warehouses, especially when they get a wall of garage doors, and they're doing them by manually, don't have openers on them, which, when it comes to commercial full vertical dock doors, I'm still on the fence. I'm still on the fence if I want an opener on there. If it was just, money wasn't, you didn't have to think about money. I couldn't tell you if I still would go, I would put an opener on it, especially when they got dock plates. And I've had dock plates that are manual dock plates, and I've also had automatic dock plates. And I just don't know, because we've had a theory through the business before, and we've not been able to really catch this, but we've seen where if the dock plate is up a little bit, we have a tendency to believe, which would make it's common sense, that when the door comes down, it hits the dock plate that's up, 3-4 inches, whatever, it's tilted, and it throws the cables off. Maybe not, so we don't, or as if it's manually, they pull it down manually, they slam it to the dock plate, right? And it's like they jump on it. They can't get the slide lock to go in. They obviously know there's a problem. So what they'll do is they'll jump on the dock plate to get it down or lower it or whatever. So I'm still kind of always on the fence where I'm like, if you put an opener on there, it's going to save the door, because on most applications, I do believe that you save the garage door when you have an opener on it, because sometimes human error, people throwing the doors up and down. I've seen bottom panels get smashed because they're just, wow, they don't care. It's not theirs. So it's always kind of a weird Weird scenario. I want to find that box. Here it is. That's for the Mr. SOS guy. It's that guy. I don't know. I'm still new to it. There's some stuff I'd like to do, but it took me long enough just to figure out the mic. This mic that I've had for a while. Like I said, I got to check. And I don't know how I made it work, but I made it work. But I was pretty darn close to I was gonna go. I was either gonna get the wife or I was gonna get the kids. And I was say, get your heinies over here, get this thing working, because it's not working. So, anywho, I'm not gonna stay on here long. It's getting dark over here in Michigan, so I'm gonna probably, I just jumped on here just to check this out, make it work, tell Ron why I do the bump stops. And, if you guys had any questions or whatnot, you can obviously. Ooh, that sounds great too, huh? Ooh, am I stepping up my game? Me, I don't know. I still don't know exactly how to do that, but me and Mr. SOS, we gotta hook up sometime. There's no doubt about it. I seen something going down. So no bump stops on residential. I don't know, man. You tell me. Mr. SOS. Do you do bump stops on residential? I just residential. I've never had the problem. I'm not saying you couldn't. It just, when it comes to bump stops on residential, 9x7, 16x7. To me, it looks a little gaudy. It looks too extreme. You know what I mean? Like, it looks too industrial. But and so I turn the bolts, and we got these little U bolts, not U bolts, but they're U brackets that I've seen, like my ancestors, I guess, in a sense, have used, and those seem to work pretty good because they do it a weird way. Their angle's not perforated; it's not punched angle, but it works. But I stick my bolts out. That's what I do on residential, but no bump stops. I just always do it on commercial. And like I said, even when it's standard lift, and the only reason is because standard lift is, if they lose power, they disconnect the J-arm, whatever. I mean, they throw that door up, man, and it's a big chunk of metal, and it's just rolling, and it just does all kinds of crazy stuff, and it scares the crap out of me when it's up in the air like that, and it starts hitting things, and if it's not supported correctly, it could just, or I've seen where it bends up, those top brackets, it'll bend the rollers. That's always crummy. Yeah, high lift tracks. Yeah. So not the standard. Yeah, I don't blame you. Only on high lift residential. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anything that's got a weird funk to it, that's how I look at it, because you guys know. You get those doors that they just don't run right. They just don't balance out right. They got a weird lull to them. I mean, it's like, it's you got it brand new, and you're sitting there and you're going like, the engineer didn't get this right. You know what I mean? Everything's a package deal here, and this thing is just, and you're sitting there kind of going, man, thank goodness thing's getting an opener on it, because it don't run worth a hoot. Because I've been there where I've had, I remember this one old lady one time. I remember she ended up, it was almost like, it was kind of sad. I don't want to say she was poor or anything, but she had like a dirt driveway, and the garage was kind of lower than the driveway, just kind of just down there. She reminded me of a widow, and she had a big, almost like Cadillac car, clean car, modest car, nice car. And I'm there changing the garage door. And this lady's, she's probably in her 90s. And she's telling me how she uses the door. And I'm like, I get in there, and I just cannot believe there's not an opener in there. And she goes, no, I've been doing that for years. And she did not want to change her ways. And so I ended up, I put that garage door in, just a non-insulated steel door, pan door. And I remember that door did not balance out. It was balanced pretty good. It really was. But I remember she come out and she's just, I mean, she's running me through the ringers on it. She's like, it's kind of hard, And so I'm like, okay, so I take a quarter off, and I'm like, try that. I got to the point where it's like I'm manipulating the springs. This one's got more than this one does, and I'm doing this funky balance. And I finally got it to where she could live with it. But ooh, man, and I'm like, are you? I mean, I was almost to the point where I was like, let me go back to shop and find like one of our cheapest openers and like let me put an opener on here for you. Like you're 90 plus, man. Like you shouldn't be lifting this door up and down. And she was set in her ways, God bless her. And she just, nope, that's how I've been doing it. And I'm just, I don't know if she want to pay electric bill or what. She was crazy. She was a really nice lady though. She was. Let me check something on here. Nothing on this. I'm just checking, make sure things are still, I have to check into this thing. Everything's so much different than when you're using a phone. It's just nuts. So, but anywho, like I said, anybody got any questions? Anything new out there? I've seen Mr. SOS. He's been pumping out the videos, man. I got to start watching some of them. He's got some good stuff on some of those openers. Mr. SOS, are you a LiftMaster fanboy? I don't know if you're a LiftMaster fanboy. I don't have nothing against LiftMaster. I really don't. I just like to ask, just like to give them crap sometimes. What we need to do is we need to get like a garage door or something. We need to get something where we can team up on it. That's what we need to do. What we need to see is, I don't know if we need to see more of the terrain out there. That's what I need to see because I believe it's nice. I believe it's nice where you live and it's cold where I live. Actually, it's supposed to be, hopefully it's going to be a warmer, winter. It sounds like. I knew he was a LiftMaster fanboy. Oh, let's bring it on. We got to have a challenge. That's what we got to do. Of course, what's this guy? What did I got on my shirt? What did I have on these? This was a while back. LiftMaster. I don't know what's on this one. Oh, that's our website. Yeah. Oh, whatever. It's always sunny here. Don't give me this crap. I tell you what. Was it Robert Williams that mentioned once? He says, you think you miss the seasons, but you don't. I think I'm one of those guys. I don't miss the seasons. I want sunshine, but I guess I'll have to experience it. I mean, I do. I don't know. When you suck up leaves and you got to deal with the cold, it's just no life fanboy. Oh boy. We're going to have to get like the, Uncle Dave with the genie. We'll have to get SOS with the LiftMaster, have a fight. Maybe we should take like a couple openers and like challenge them. I'll take my screwdriver that I'm a big fanboy of, and we'll take one of his. We'll try to like link the J arms together. We'll have like a battle, Of course, I'm going to find out a way to tweak mine a little bit, with some higher voltage or something. Got to have some fun. Yeah, I hear you, man. That's for sure. I think me and you think alike. I kind of look at it like I'm always the car guy. You know what I mean? I'm always like, yeah, there's Chevy, there's GMC, there's, whatever, Ford, there's Honda. Whatever's not in the shop, that's what I'm pushing. You know what I mean? Whatever's just not in the shop, being worked on all the time, that the working man's got to be out there slaving for it. Cause I've been there, it's just crazy. I don't know if I'm going to say it right. Sommer. I say that right. Sommer is a good opener. I haven't done them yet. I've seen them at the IDA shows and stuff, but I just can't. I don't know. They remind me of the Marantec, and I just don't know, man. I'm kind of I don't know. I'm kind of weird when it comes to that stuff. Yeah, it's like, there's, I don't know how to explain. My mom, right? My mom's one of those, I love my mom. She's a great woman. And she's the one that like looks at stuff, right? She'll look at a car and she's like, I love it. And I'm like, you love it? I'm like, man, that's got the crappy motor in it. It's got a horrible transmission, blah, blah, blah. And of course she's always, she's always into newer stuff. So you don't really know that, but it's just like, Mom, what's behind the dash is the doors that control the vents and stuff they're going to quit working. Like they don't put, I love it. I love the way it's laid. Well, I'm kind of like that when it comes to garage doors. You know what I mean? Like when I see it, at least, it comes in the box, you pull it out like LiftMaster, sexy. There's no doubt about it. Like you pull out that nice red opener with the nice metal cover and the lights are on it that look futuristic. And I mean, they're just like, whoa, this thing is beautiful, And then Genie, it's kind of like, does the job, And then to me, it's like you go to like Marantec and it's like, ugh, it looks kind of like a kid's toy. And then it's like there's Sommer. They're kind of about the same to me. So it's just like, like something I'd like give to my kid. That's just what I feel. Now they might be great in the inside. Now the Marantec I have had has ran fine. It's been a good. I can't believe how many times I've unplugged it. I've left it unplugged. It still keeps its memory. I don't know. Have you heard? Yeah. Sunny. Didn't know. What else we got here? Summers. It's like you need a little checklist so you know where you left off. I go Genie. Oh, Mr. SOS going Genie too, huh? Ah. Do you guys, Joe, I see Joe's garage door. On the Marantec, is it just me or does it feel like it's hard to program? Like I feel like it's a lot of steps. And I think it's got maybe some nice options, but it feels very like, I don't know. Like, I don't think the guys are going to like it. I just think they would just go, are you serious? Like you expect us to install these? You better give me an extra hour. That's what I just feel like. And I couldn't do that to them. I just couldn't, especially when you get trained, when you're so used to like click, it works, and it just works. Oof. It's, yeah, Genie, no more. No, yes, Sommer. Oh, Sommer's great. Sommer is German. Yeah, so I think what is German too is Horman. The Horman openers, aren't those German too? A couple Evo plus Pro seems great so far. Interesting. California, yeah. See, and I would think those Californian boys, they'd be using Sommer too. They just seem like they got the means to be doing it since it's sunny always there. We got to deal with this 10 feet of snow over here. Customers love. So I wonder. So Joe, on the Sommer, what do the customers love? Is it like the features? Is it just they work? I mean, I'm just kind of curious. Because like I said, when I seen it run, it just, and it's, I don't know how you say it, but size shouldn't matter, right? But they're small. I don't know. They just seem kind of weird. Love Sommer. Master left that red look. Yeah, I know. They got rid of probably the red look on them. I think was now gray. Look like new iPhones. I tell you what, that red one was a sharp opener. I remember pulling those out when they did that. Haven't done much of the LEDs. I'm worried those LEDs are going to go bad, but I'm sure you can replace them somehow. And sometimes I worry that LiftMaster's changing things so fast that it's going to be gone. Like I'll be like, I need a LED or whatever is in there that burns out. And then I'm like, they're like, oh, we discontinue that model. So now you can buy this one though. And I'm like, but it's only 5 years old. That's what I kind of feel like. Seems like a lot of businesses are doing this. I've had it where, the one place here, Menards, I've caught on to what they do. It's, Menards, if you don't know what that is, it's basically like Lowe's or Home Depot, but they're smaller scale, I guess. And they originally had, I remember they had the Wayne Dalton garage door opener. And my grandpa had one. He had two of them. He had two 9x7 doors side by side. And he's begging me one day, oh, come up and look at my garage door. And I'm like, oh my gosh. All right. Finally, I go up there, right? He plugs it in and he's like, you hear that? And he's like, it just hums. And I mean, it's humming pretty loud. I'm going, I'm like, ooh. I said, I don't know if I'd leave that plugged in. It sounds like it's going to catch on fire. And he's like, what should I do? He goes, should I just go buy another one and then put that one in the box and take it back? And I'm like, I don't know. Like you do whatever you want. Like, I really don't want to be even a part of this. And I remember I stopped there one time at Menards and I was walking through the parking lot, right? And the guy seen me get out of the truck, our stickers are on it. And next thing I know, he goes, hey, you do garage doors? I said, yeah. And he goes, well, I got a Wayne Dalton garage door opener. I said, oh, those things are junk. And I mean, the guy just kind of went, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I think I just offended him. You know what I mean? He's like, what's really funny? He goes, the guy inside said the same thing. And he says, well, that's why they quit selling them. And I'm like, well, maybe that's a good indication. But then what I found out that they're doing is about every 5 years or so, they're changing out their line, right? So it was Master Tech or something. Now it's Tech Master. Like they just switched the words or something. I don't know what they got. And it's like, all they do is now, so when you go in there and you're like, oh, hey, I this thing's no good. They go, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Customer. We don't sell that anymore. Sorry. You're going to have to go online but if you want, you can buy one of our new ones here. And the customers, they're, when you don't do garage doors, you're not, real educated on them. So they don't know what to do. And they either just buy another one and forget what's the ones I always bashed on. Let's see here. No, great. We hardly. I need to reach out to my local Marantec, huh? Oh, like I said, I haven't done enough of the Marantec. It's just, the light on it was pathetic, the one I got. And I know I got the cheapest model, but, the outside keypad was all right. I didn't mind that. I do like the concept of that. You can plug in the remotes and learn, and there's some nice features there. I wish, LiftMaster would do something more like that. I would have to say LiftMaster. Yeah. He says LiftMaster sexy. Yeah. LiftMaster are, man. There's just nothing like a LiftMaster. I tell you what, I mean, for the most part, the remotes, they click nice. When I used to deal with some of those, what was it? The linear residential ones. I mean, it's like they were almost constantly changing the outside keypad and the remotes. And it was like giving a big pen to a customer. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, here's this big pen. Like just here, it's put it wherever you want. And I just thought, oh my gosh, they're going to break on me. It's just, Ooh, smooth and quiet. I'm assuming the Sommer is, I'm assuming it's a belt drive. That's what I'm guessing. I do that. Yeah, I think I like that. Yeah, that's called planned obsolescence. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's why I'm still kind of like, I really miss the ATS. I was just thinking about it today about a job or whatever that I was going to do. And I was thinking, boy, I really miss those mechanical limits, because for us up here in Michigan, we get a lot of jobs that we go. I used to do quite a few too. That was, we did for the Amish, and the Amish will slap a building up, and, our Consumers Electric or electric company around here, shoot, it'll take them 3 to 6 months, to get out there to put electricity to a building. And customers don't want to, they don't want to wait. So what will happen is, they want their doors installed. Well, if you're there installing a garage door, you're going to install the opener. And I remember at one point, LiftMaster told me, which I'm sure this is with other manufacturers, they told me flat out that you cannot run it off a generator. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I can't run this off a generator. Now we kind of go with the power packs, which work really nice. But like with Genie, I don't feel ever really, really, really confident. And now even with LiftMaster, because LiftMaster has those circuit boards, because I literally had a guy with a horse barn. I remember this very very vividly. And I remember that he had a horse barn. I think he had 2 garage doors, one facing on one wall, one on the other. I installed they just kind of came out, the newer LiftMaster with the programmable, limits. And I set them. I still remember that I had to do the funky, like you got to do the over travel for the down, like otherwise it sits up an inch or whatever, vice versa. So I got that all set and everything was good. And I had to go back there and do a piece of trim. When I shot my bottom trim, I shattered it. It was freezing out that day and it blew to pieces. I told the customer about it. I said, hey, look, I got to come back, put a new piece of weather seal on. No problem. So I go back, maybe 2 weeks later. I get out there. The guy lived way in the woods. You know what I mean? I get back there and real nice guy. And he's all of a sudden, he's like, hey, he goes, those openers or you installed them? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, they're not closing. And I'm like, huh? And I'm thinking, oh, like an inch or something got screwed, right? And I go out there and like one door is like a foot off the ground where it stopped for its limits. And I'm like, how is this even happening? And then I run it, right? But it's like, that's what it thinks for its limits. And then the other one's like halfway up. And I'm like, what the is going on here? And then come to find out, right? I get everything reset. And the guy's telling me, he goes, well, that's my horse barn, and it's, I don't know, maybe 150 yards away or so from the house. And he goes, sometimes at night, he goes, I don't want to go out there and shut the lights off. He says, so I hit the breaker. And I'm like, you can't do that. And he's like, well, why not? And I said, because those openers need to have power all the time. I said, otherwise they'll lose their memory. I didn't know what else to say. You know what I mean? And so that's what we went with. And then I think he left the power. I never had another call back, but that made me nervous. That's why I was like, I want my old mechanical limits back for a customer like this. So what I started doing is when customers I knew there were going to be a weird situation or like the Amish, I was actually putting ATS heads on 7-foot rails. I was modifying them, doing whatever I had to do because I knew they weren't going to have power. And all I knew in my head is I thought when they power these things up, I want the limits to be on, and I've had Genie. It seems like the residential does okay. But I've had the Genie commercials. Not always. I've had them on generators and I don't know if it's because the generator screws them up. I don't know if it's, they get powered up too late, they've lost, but I've had a good guy, a builder guy that I remember he fired it up and he's like, dude, it's like the door's all kittywampus. I get there, the cables are wrapped around everything. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, what did you do? And he's like, I just put power to it and turned it on and this is where it landed. And I'm like, they had mechanical limits, even like the old, the LiftMaster commercial has mechanical, which is still nice, but I get so angry sometimes. Don't change my stuff. If you do, make sure you keep it, let me buy it. Okay. Just let me keep buying it. So what we got here? Evo, Harley, Summer. Yeah. Customer love. LiftMaster. Longo. Yeah. Oh, we got yes, Joe Smooth and Quiet. That's called, yes. So did the same thing, but what bad for them. They started making bad motors. Yes, remembers 1024 Genie motors. Yeah. It was kind of weird with the Genie, the residentials. When we did a lot of them for Lowe's, we used to call it the red light of death. And I remember those things were just all of a sudden, boop, just all of a sudden, just 2 lights red on it. The thing wouldn't move. You couldn't change it. You call the technical support and it's bad. You know what I mean? And I don't remember if I think we changed out the whole head unit. I don't know if that was like a Lowe's thing or what, but that was like so common that I remember we ended up, we're like, yeah, we're not installing these, so like when we got our own customers, they were like, well, this or that. And we're like, no, you're going to go with the LiftMaster because we're not going to deal with this crap. And then it seemed like it got better, but now I see a few at the shop that I'm kind of wondering if those guys are having issues again, because one thing we've learned is that I think most of the manufacturers like this, but Genie they'll send you parts, right? But the thing, it's not like registering in people's heads, and even ours at one time was that, yeah, they'll send you parts, right? But if you got a place like the one we were going to was hour and something away, just an hour, we'll say an hour, one way. And the guy kept going up there. I think he went up there 2 times and it wasn't fixing the problem, right? It would like lead on to something else. And I mean, I'm sitting at the desk the one day and he comes back and I told him, I said, dude, I said, you can't do this. I said, you got to go up there and bring another head unit. I said, change it out. I said, bring it back to the shop. I said, we got to either eat it. I said, we got to put it on the table and try to fix it here, and figure it out and put parts into it. And that stuff just gets to be so overwhelming that it's not even funny. You waste so much time. And, I mean, when you're paying guys, whatever, $20, $30. I mean, it's like, you might as well throw it away. It's just, by the time you deal with, getting on the phone with somebody and we'll send you more parts. How about you send me a whole darn new head unit? This thing's junk, like, I mean, just like, I want to UPS this thing back and let's move on, because it just gets overwhelming. All right. Yeah. So what's this one? What's Joe say here? Chain drive is static in the motor. Oh, that's right. That's right. So that was the one. See, I believe, I thought Horman did that too. And that was that guy that we did years ago. And I remember he, we go there and of course, it can't be one in town, right? Is this another one that's probably an hour and 30 minutes away, too far away. And I remember we go there and it's one of those, hot summer days. We get there, we go to install it, right? We're getting this thing. And I got the one guy with me, right? This one he's got years of experience. He's very tech smart. You know what I mean? And I'm like, here, you read the instructions. I'm going to start putting this thing together. So I start unpackaging everything, he's reading instructions, right? We assemble it all on the ground, whatever. And we can absolutely not get this Horman to move. I mean, it's just dead in the water. It's like no programming, no nothing, no unplug it, no reset. Like it won't move. Like it's just completely dead. And I remember it was like, hey, mister, where's my garage door? How's it going to work? And it's like, it's not working. And I guess for us, like maybe just being Michiganders, I don't know. It's like, we're kind of like a rural area sometimes, right? So it's not like he could just go down the road and get another one. And that's the problem. So it's like, and this was through Lowe's, and it's like, yeah, it's like, get a Chamberlain. And he's like, well, he goes, I got this because it was German made. And he goes, and I'm from German, and I'm like, I don't know, but you're not driving Germany cars out there. I see American cars. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like right now, if we had a problem, we could run right down to the store, swap this thing out, and we throw another one. I mean, it's just got to go up and down, right? I mean, you weren't looking for, some crazy system. So it just always kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. We've had pull cord issues. Have any of you guys ever had the Horman with the pull cord issues? They got like a weird, like they wrap around. And I remember this lady broke hers and she was out in the boonies and she was like, I mean, it was like phone call every day. Like I broke my disconnect off and it's like, why are you messing with this? And it's like the disconnect, you got like push the button and then pull the disconnect or something. It's a really like, it just didn't make any sense to me. And I thought, my goodness, I do garage doors for a living. If this doesn't make sense to me, how am I going to expect a customer for this to make sense to them? You know what I mean? Like, hey, pull down on the cord. If you pull it this way, see how it locks out? Yes. If you pull it this way, it locks back. I mean, these are just things that can just start eating you alive, at least for us. We're doing, I don't know, we're probably doing 8, 12 doors a day, with the guys I had. And by the time you start ramping that stuff out there, that stuff starts sitting and stewing. It's like, just need something so grandma can understand. Grandma, you see the cord? I had a lady one time. I remember she, old lady, nice lady, very dressed, very nice. And I get there and the garage door is like outside the jam on the pavement of the driveway with tire tracks across. And I'm like, how did this happen? And that lady, she stood right there and she told me, she goes, Sonny, I had to go to the doctor and there was nothing stopping me and that garage door wouldn't open. So I hit the gas and I'm like, holy crap. She wiped her whole door right out, tire tracks and all. I mean, just like, maybe you could have pulled the door off or something. That was just amazing to me. I mean, oh man, it's fun. Oh, it's fun. So chain. Actually, this hammer is chain, right? Definitely a system where there is tension chain. Yes. Yes. Belt. New wall mount. Yeah. That's why many are experiencing with the new wall mount motor from LiftMaster. Does LiftMaster, Mr. SOS, they still doing the pull cord that's got the clicky click in it? Or is it like more of a lockout now, that you can lock it in something? I wonder if they changed that at all. I remember the first time I did one, and I was just, sweat rolling down the face. I was panicking. I was like the first one I ever did, and I couldn't get that darn thing to work. And I remember that darn thing, it's because it was disconnected. You got to pull it twice. Once you do it, it's not a problem. But when you haven't done it, it's kind of like you're a fish out of water, And so I don't know. Like I said, I'd like to play with them a little bit. We just don't get in those situations where we're dealing with light residential and where they got high lift in them or anything like that, where they got to do it. And so we always just try to stick with the old tried and true moving the door, trolley opener, because I just move the door, not the springs, especially when you work on commercial and you see how many times it throws the cables. Not that these new ones do it by any means. I don't know. I mean, I guess they're cleaner. They are cleaner, but see, the problem is we're doing a lot of retro or whatever they call it. It's not new construction. So a lot of these people don't have outlets, and then you got to run an extension cord across the ceiling and all kinds of goofy stuff. And, I'm glad though that it sounds like LiftMaster got rid of that sensor that everybody yelled at me about that I installed wrong, but never had a problem with the sensor. I've always had just problems with the door jamming up, or somehow it would throw the cables. And I'm like, it had the sensor on it. And I'm like, how is this thing throwing the cables with the sensor on it? But it's just goofy times, man. I tell you, some of the stuff is it's changing so fast, and it's hard to say what's good or what's bad out there. Like I said, the guys did some wall mount. They did some wall mount genies, and they seem to be pretty happy. I thought it'd be kind of goofy the way that they're kind of chugging along, And I think it all depends on too where you're located, So if you got like a Sommer, if I'm saying that right, or Rantec, dealer close by, I've watched a lot of videos over the years, and a lot of these guys with tractors, cars, semi trucks, they eventually all come to the conclusion that it's like, make sure you got a good dealer. You know what I mean? Make sure you're close to a dealer and you like that dealer, or you're like that, it's always like the dealer, because, there's always that point with vehicles, semi trucks, garage doors, TVs, appliances, all these different things that eventually, you got to be looking so far in the future that you might not have time to fix it yourself. You might not have time to, run and get the parts, or you got to order them online and it's going to take 2 weeks. What if we have another sickness, so there's just all these things you got to be thinking about. For like us, what's our closest vendor? They deal with Lanier. They deal with LiftMaster is a big one they deal with. And the other one deals with LiftMaster, Amar. They deal with the LiftMaster product. And for us, the convenient part of it is we can get Genie through Wayne Dalton. So we just, we used to be able to get LiftMaster. So it's kind of a bummer because there's certain things we would like to use. And unfortunately now we got to get them from Clopay. So they're a little bit more expensive. They take a little bit longer. Most of the time the guys are good about, they keep that stuff in stock so they don't get into a pinch. But we used to do that. We used to run all the time. It was like, you needed something, you ran, but you start realizing that your time, as you get more of these right here, the gray hairs, you start realizing how precious time is. You know what I mean? And then you start looking at it from a business aspect too. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, every time I got to run and get parts, yeah, maybe I got that sale, but I don't have the product and I need it for tomorrow or whatever. So now you're, 30, 45 minutes in a vehicle running one way. Well, there's 2 hours eaten up. That's could be out producing or doing other things. So it's like you're always trying to get ahead, which is hard to do when you're first starting out. Trust me. I know money was tight, especially when I was 10 grand in debt, and I didn't have that customer going to pay me. Trust me, I know. What's this Mark say? I install so many LiftMaster side mounts because here in SC there is a new construction boom. Ooh, and literally everyone wants side mounts. That's just amazing to me that people want those side mounts. I mean, that's cool. I mean, I'm glad. Hopefully, obviously, I'm assuming, Mark, they're obviously putting the outlets and everything there for you. But I don't see that around here. I just don't. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. It's like for us, it's either like price, how fast can you do it? And a lot of times for us, we don't want to install because if we do, like I've said, we don't have the structure there for it. So you got to run an outlet or an extension cord, and then it turns into, I've had it before. I remember at one time I was going to start carrying extension cords on the trucks because you got so many customers that you'd be like, hey, hi, Mrs. Jones, you need an extension cord. And she's like, well, I don't have an extension cord. And it's like, so you take the one off your truck and you keep it plugged in or whatever. And you're like, well, I'll come back and when you got one, and it just, where it's been so ingrained for us around here that they're right up by the door where they belong, that they seem to work pretty good. Dealership, summer dealership is like, oh, nice. Yeah, outlets are, yes. Oh, sweet. So they are in the correct spot. That's awesome. No, that's cool. Now, Mark, here's the question. Here's the $1 million question. Do they also still put them up in the, up in the ceiling? Because my guess is not, because most time builders are cheap and that cost them another $75 or whatever. So they put them in both spots. I'm just curious. So in case down the road that opener fails, somebody goes to Lowe's or Home Depot and buys, their own to install, let's say, that's got me interested, and then also do the doors, do the doors have the operator brackets on them? I'm assuming not, because it's cost savings. Normally builders, it's cookie cutter type stuff. I've seen so many, I'm sure you guys have seen this too. We got so many, builders, the spec homes that I cannot believe, especially up here in Michigan, that they will build these things and there's a bedroom above the garage door and that garage door is not insulated. I mean, sometimes even like a quarter of a wall might not be insulated. I'm like, who in the heck? Like non-insulated? I'm like, if you can keep it, 2, 3, 5 degrees warmer in this garage, think about what it's going to do upstairs. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyways, I'll have to check into it. All right, guys, I can't stay much longer. I see the kiddos are coming. They text me, so it's going to get loud. So I'm going to jump out of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Talk to you on the next one. And remember, you can always email me. Email any questions, comments. I do get some of them, not all of them. Love you guys. I hope you take care. We'll see you on the next one. Try a little better.